Hello and welcome to another session of the MySolo401k Financial Daily Webinar Series. We're excited to get started. Thank you so much for joining. If you have questions or topics on this topic or anything else, please chat that over now so that we can be sure to get to your question. We also ask you to please like this video if you end up finding it to be helpful, as that'll help us to get the word out to other solopreneurs, other advisors like yourself. So please like this video wherever you're watching us, whether on LinkedIn or X or Instagram or YouTube. Again, welcome to your daily Solo 401k webinar and Q&A session with my Solo 401k Financial, where we help you to stop overpaying taxes and start building real retirement wealth. Today's topic, my Solo 401k plus Altruist, how sole proprietors can still open a Solo 401k in 2026 and make 2025 Solo 401k contributions. This is your chance to get answers. Please use the chat now to ask questions on today's topic or anything else. Please chat them over now so that we can be sure to get to them all. As always, the presentation is being provided for educational purposes only and should not be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice, nor as a solicitation. When making an investment decision, please consult with your tax attorney and financial professional. So let's dive right into the slides. Now, as always, let's lay the foundation with who's eligible to set up a solo 401k. Well, the solo 401k is for an owner-only business with no full-time W-2 employees. So think like a consultant, a realtor, a freelancer, or other small business owner. So there's two components to the eligibility criteria. The first part of it is that you must report earned self-employment income on your taxes. Now, there's different ways to satisfy that requirement. For example, if your business is taxed as a sole proprietor, like a 1099 independent contractor, earned self-employment income is income reported on Schedule C of your 1040. Whereas if your business is taxed as an S Corp or a C Corp, or even an LLC taxed as an S Corp or a C Corp, earned self-employment income is W-2 wages that you receive from your self-employed business. Lastly, if your business is taxed as a partnership, for example, it files Form 1065. Earned self-employment income would be income reported on line 14 of the K1 that you receive from the partnership. Now, the other part of the eligibility criteria is that you cannot have any non-owner, non-spouse, full-time W-2 employees. So that means that you could have contractors that are working as themselves as independent contractors. That would not preclude you from setting up a solo 401k for your business. You could even have a spouse that's working in the business or another business owner, as long as they're at least a 3% or more business owner. And their presence would not preclude you from setting up a solo 401k. You just cannot have any non-owner, non-spouse, full-time W-2 employees in order to be eligible to set up and maintain a solo 401k. Now, more on the eligibility considerations. Do I need a separate entity? No, you don't. And as we'll talk about here, focusing on sole proprietors, they, of course, do not have a formal legal entity, and that's fine. The key is that you need to report that earned self-employment income, again, with no non-owner, non-spouse, full-time W-2 employees. There is no minimum amount of earned self-employment income that you would need to report to be eligible. In other words, this is not just for high-earning solopreneurs. Could just be for a micro business. Your spouse or business partner may participate as long as your spouse or business partner are reporting their own earned self-employment income, such as their own W-2, their own Schedule C, etc. You could have a solo 401k if this is a side hustle. So even if you have a W-2 day job, as long as you're reporting that separate earned self-employment income with no non-owner, non-spouse, full-time W-2 employees, you would be eligible to set up a solo 401k. Even if you're participating in your W-2 employer-sponsored plan, in other words, your day job plan, that would not prevent you from setting up a solo 401k for your separate self-employment activity. Now, it's 2026, obviously. So there might be some who never set up a solo 401k by the end of 2025. And the great news is is that you still have options on the table. Now, your options are not going to be as great as if you had set up the plan on or before December 31st, 2025. In other words, if you had just signed up at MySolo401k.net, or if you'd set up a solo 401k somewhere else, then you would have preserved the ability to make all types of contributions for 2025, whether employee, employer, and or voluntary after tax by your 2025 business tax return deadline, including any timely filed extension in 2026. But if you started late, if you didn't sign up or set up a plan anywhere, and now you're just getting to it in 2026, you still have options. Now, your options will depend on how your business is taxed. So if your business is taxed as an S Corp or a partnership or a C Corp, then it's too late to make employee contributions, elective deferrals. It's too late to make employee contributions for 2025. You missed that December 31st, 2025 deadline. But even for those types of self-employed businesses, you could still set up a plan in 2025 and make voluntary after-tax contributions as well as employer contributions for 2025 by your business tax return deadline, including any timely filed extension. Now, if your business is taxed as a sole proprietor, let's say you do not have any type of legal entity, or let's say you do have a legal entity, but it's a single member LLC taxed as a disregarded entity. In other words, an LLC taxed as a sole proprietorship. The good news is that there's still time. You can still set up a solo 401k in 2026 and make all contributions, employee, employer, and voluntary after tax. Now, you would have to make the employee contribution by April 15th, 2026. So you'd have to sign up in time to open up an account, could be at Altruist, to make that employee contribution for 2025 by April 15th. Now, if your business is taxed as a sole proprietorship, in other words, you report your earned self-employment income on your 1040 on Schedule C, and you file a timely extension for your 2025 1040, so your 2025 business tax return, effectively 1040. If you file an extension for your 1040, that'll give you more time to make the employer and or voluntary after-tax contribution. But if you didn't set up the plan until 2026, even if you file an extension for your 1040, you would still have to make that employee contribution for 2025 by April 15th. But the bottom line is that no December 31st setup is strictly required for solopreneurs under those Secure Act rules. Now let's layer in Altruist. So our customers can open up the accounts at the bank or brokerage of choice. And a lot of them will work with advisors. Our platform is very compatible with advisors. Why? Because we don't hold the money. We don't dictate where it's at. We don't give investment advice. We charge 100% flat fee. Our plan comes with all the features. So for advisors who want to have an advanced plan, for example, that allows for Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, that allows for solo 401k participant loans, that allows for in-plan Roth conversions, that supports $1,500 in solo 401k tax credits, those advisors can have their clients come to us to get the fully featured plan, but they can have their accounts wherever the advisor custody is at. So we're fortunate to work with a number of advisors who custody at Altruist. So they can use the accounts, use the platform at Altruist, but bring their own plan documents, bring their advanced plan documents that the customer obtains from MySolo401k Financial, so they can have their cake and eat it too. So you'll get access, the customer will get access to all those advanced features that I just mentioned, right? The Mega Backdoor Roth, the loans, the tax credits, plus the ongoing compliance support. So for example, with our customers, we handle the Form 5500 EZ. We handle the 1099R, and we don't charge any fee for that. So for example, with the 5500 EZ, that's an informational tax filing that has to be done once the value of the solo 401k, so including all the different sub accounts, even including the value of any defined benefit plan that might be sponsored by that solopreneur, if the total amount exceeds $250,000 as of the end of the year, a 5500 EZ informational tax return needs to be filed by the following July. So if the value exceeded $250,000 as of December 31st, 2025, a 5500 EZ will be due by July 31st, 2026. And the late filing fees are high, $250 per day. So that can add up very quickly to a very large amount. So it's going to make sense to work with a provider like MySolo401k that will handle that 5500 EZ for no additional charge. Now, we don't have access to the accounts, so customers, their advisors, have to let us know once the value exceeds $250,000 so we can add their plan to the queue to take them through that 5500 EZ process. So as part of that 5500 EZ process, we reach out to the customer in the spring to capture the information that's needed so that we can prepare that 5500 EZ. We prepare it under the electronic filing system to make it easy for the client, for the advisor, for all parties, so that it can be filed by that July 31st deadline. So you can have the accounts at Altruist, but have the plan documents with all the features from MySolo401k. Now, for those that are still trying to set up a plan in 2025, or excuse me, in 2026 and make those 2025 contributions, the key deadlines are the business tax return deadline. Now, what's great about Altruist, among other things, is that they act very quickly. In our experience, based on client feedback, based on advisor feedback, they'll open up the accounts for the third-party solo 401k within a day, typically. And now, here's a key takeaway, is that Altruist offers their own basic solo 401k. So if you go on their platform, you'll see from the drop-down menu, solo 401k is an account option, account type option. But they actually set up a different type of account called a retirement trust account for people that are bringing their own solo 401k. So a 401k is a trust, it's a retirement trust. So Altruist will open up the account that'll be governed by a third-party plan document, meaning our plan document. And the document dictates what you can do, right? It dictates the fact that you can make the Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, can claim the tax credits, take a loan, et cetera, et cetera. So of course, even though Altruist, in our experience, does act very quick, it's going to make sense now to act now, right? Sooner the better in 2026, to give the advisor, the client, time to not only establish the plan, open up the accounts, but determine how much they're going to contribute and actually deposit and transfer those funds to those accounts at Altruist. So the MySolo401k.net, the MySolo401k financial advantage is that it comes with all the features, right? We talked about the ability to make Roth contributions, Mega Backdoor Roth contributions, employer Roth contributions, in-plan Roth conversions. So all the ways that are available under the rules to maximize dollars in that Roth account so that you got that potential for tax-free growth. We were the first solo 401k provider to offer a plan that supports the Mega Backdoor Roth contributions. Number two, the ability to claim the Secure Act auto contribution tax credits. So that's $1,500 in tax credits, $500 per year for 3 consecutive years. We were the first solo 401k provider to offer a plan that qualified for the tax credits. We've been offering a plan since the end of 2023 and ever since then. So all new plans going forward, even if you have an existing basic plan that's upgraded to our plan, it will be eligible for these tax credits. So that's $500 per year for 3 consecutive years. It's a tax credit, not a tax deduction. So it's a dollar for dollar reduction in their tax liability. Ultimately, that will more than cover our fees for the first 7 years because we charge $650 as an initial cost. That includes the $525 establishment fee plus the first $125 annual fee. Then starting 12 months later, we charge our $125 annual fee that covers the second year. 4 and 5500 EZ and 1099R support. As we discussed up above, we handle that for no additional charge. We handle it under the electronic filing system to make it easy for the clients, for the advisors. They just need to let us know when that's needed since we don't have access to the accounts. Access to alternative investments inside the plan. So the client can not only invest in brokerage type investments, whether that's stocks, bonds, mutual funds, but even alternative investments like private placements, real estate, crypto, precious metals, etc. Solo 401k participant loan features. So our plan will allow the Solo 401k participant to borrow from the plan. This is where they can literally withdraw funds from the Solo 401k, and it's not going to be considered a taxable event. It's not going to be subject to penalties as long as it's within those loan terms and paid back according to the loan repayment schedule. So those terms require that it's documented on loan documents. We prepare the loan documents for no additional charge. The loan amount is limited to no more than 50% of the balance, not to exceed $50,000. It needs to be paid back in monthly or quarterly payments, equal payments of principal and interest. The interest is prime plus 1% or a CD rate plus 2%, with those payments spread over a 5-year term. So next steps to get started would be to complete our online application, which you can do quickly and easily at MySolo401k.net. Just click on open account. It's a very straightforward application, just 10 simple questions. Just takes a minute. Things like your name, your address, the name of your business, etc. Now, in that last question, we ask for the name of the plan. And we recommend 2 words in the word trust. It can really be any 2 words. It could be a derivative of the self-employed business name if they do have a self-employed entity. Or it could be something totally different, right? It could be your favorite animal, your favorite color. So if someone's working with an advisor, what we find works well, what clients and advisors say works well, is just to simply add the name and email address of the advisor in response to that last question. So let's say they call the name of the plan Blue Goose Trust. So they can go in there and say, okay, Blue Goose Trust, please copy, then insert the name and email address of the advisor. That way we'll copy the advisor on communications, etc. Once we receive that application and payment is made, we prepare the plan documents within the same business day. So an email will go out with a link to the secure portal where the client, the advisor, if they're included on the application, can access the documents. And then we take the client and the advisor through the whole account establishment process, etc., etc. So we move quickly. Okay, great. Thank you so much. So again, if this information is helping you feel more secure about your retirement, please take 1 second to like and subscribe. Liking tells the platform that the content is valuable, which helps other solopreneurs like you find it. Subscribing guarantees you get notifications of all of our crucial content that we deliver every day to help you secure your retirement. We also want to invite you to our community. We have the largest community of solopreneurs, advisors, just interested parties around these topics. It's totally free to join. All are welcome. With over 32,000 members, we have vibrant forums. We have a library of videos and webinars. So there's a ton of ways to learn, to share the knowledge. You can join quickly and easily at MySolo401k.net/my community. So please don't hesitate to join. Okay, wonderful. Well, it looks like that's it for today's Solo 401k session. Thank you so much for investing your time with us. Your time is valuable and your retirement future is worth it. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe so we can keep building this Solo 401k community. We'll be back here tomorrow with more crucial content to help you secure your retirement.